Alright, we're going to do an unboxing of my Dart fly screens for the Trident 660. And then we'll put it on the mic. Oh, very nice. So I ordered two. I ordered the Classic in black and the Piranha. So you have this. I also have a shirt. It's got a monkey on it. It looks cool. And then there's the Piranha. And only need one set of mounting brackets. That's stuck on there. Instructions and hardware. Mounting brackets. Extra grommets. And a sticker. So that's it. Nicely packaged all together. Let's get it on the bike and see how it looks. Probably going to go with this for 90% of the time, and then I'll throw this one on here for longer trips when I want just that little extra wind protection. It's not going to be much, and it's not much bigger than the Triumph accessory, the OEM fly screen, but to me it has a much better classic look, a little more cafe racer than street triple. So we'll give it a try. Alright, hello everybody. Hope you're doing well. That unboxing you just saw was, I think I recorded that before I actually installed the fly screen, obviously, and then I did the installation video and forgot to put that unboxing in there. So I hope you like that. Now, I've had 600 miles on the Dart Classic. So I feel like I can definitely do a comparison on naked, which we're going to start off with first. Yes, it's got the brackets there, as you can see, but and if you own this bike, you know what it's like without a windshield or a fly screen on there. But I wanted to do kind of a back-to-back noise comparison with no fly screen. Yeah, the brackets are going to be there, but I think that'll be negligible. So no fly screen versus the Piranha versus the Classic. I'll take a look. I'll do a walk around so you can get a view of all the both of the fly screens from different angles, and I'll talk about what it was like the first 600 miles I had on this bike without a fly screen, and then I just got back from a 600-mile road trip over 3 days. Don't worry, there's going to be some more videos for that one, so stay tuned. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of that. That'll be on the way shortly. But gonna try to do a A-B-C test here, so that you can get a baseline first of what it sounds like naked. I'll go up a couple exits on the freeway, so we get a noise test. Not going to be quite as scientific. You know, I could get a decibel meter and all that extra stuff, but I don't have all that, so I'm going to just give you my subjective opinion, and then hopefully you can also just tell from the sound, you know, on your speakers, if there's any differences. I took out the little chin curtain on my helmet here, so that you'll probably get a little bit more wind and road noise, but I wanted you to get that so that you could probably be more aware of the differences. Yes, I know my fuel is low, but I still have 2 bars, and I'll get some gas here in a little bit. This fuel light is very conservative, by the way. It turns on when you have about 60 miles of range left, and which is plenty of time to get to a gas station, and it's nice. I'd rather it come on early than late, but So anyway, but so the fuel light coming on, you still have about 60 miles left, and so that's plenty of time. You're just conditioned when the light comes on, like, oh, I gotta go get fuel now, and I ran into that on my road trip a little bit. I just tried to find 7th, dumbass. All right, so speed limit 65. No, it's 60. So I drove about to about 65. Kind of get some good posture here, stand upright, and hopefully getting a good baseline of how much noise we have here on the freeway. Wind blast, not too bad, getting a good bit on my chest, but at 63 it's not too bad. Get up about 70, that's where for me it gets to be a little tiresome, where you feel like you're kind of getting punched in the chest constantly by a really weak guy. Still getting a good bit of air around my helmet. The one thing I love about this bike, you don't even need earplugs below 50 miles an hour without a fly screen on. It's like I said, the clean air is just nice and quiet. But yeah, get a good bit here. And definitely feeling it about, getting a wind blast right about my solar plexus area. Okay, so I'm about 5'10", 5'11", and that's where the wind starts here for me. So I'm hitting it there, and we'll go up to the next exit, get off, get some gas, and then we'll throw we'll start with the Piranha. We'll throw the Piranha on and give that a try. Okay, so pulled over here. We'll do get the 4mm Allen key out, and we're gonna put on the Piranha first, and just put it on those brackets there. This is one of the things I like about the Dart, so let's talk about that for a second. I've got some comments on my last video about, well, the Power Bronze is easier to put on, and it looks like to me it would have better wind coverage, and it might even be cheaper, and it was first to the market. So, you know, kudos to Power Bronze. And that some people said that the Triumph one looks better and is well engineered and looks like it's a lot, goes on in 5 minutes, and that's fine. But to me, the Power Bronze just doesn't look very good. It looks like, you know, it looks a little bit dad jeans. I'm sorry to say. That's just my opinion. If you like the looks of it and you got it and you love it, then great, be happy with it. And then the Triumph one, it just looked wrong. The painted section with the upside down triangle, it just didn't look right. And to me, this bike looks like it's, you know, a modern classic, or it's a modern bike with some retro touches, and that retro cafe racer fly screen that Dart makes, to me, just looks like that's what this bike needs. So if you don't like the Darts, that's fine. No, get something else and be happy with that, and more power to you. But for me, that visually, it wins. I'll also say I am not a sponsor, or I'm not a sponsor. I'm not sponsored by Dart. I'm not sponsored by anybody. Well, the only thing sponsoring this channel is my wife's patience, okay? So definitely not a sponsor. I paid for these screens out of my own money, my own pocket, and I wanted to try both of them out. And so that's really, no one's paying me or giving me anything to say these things. And so this video is really just for those of you that you're like me, you like the looks of the Dart better, you like how the bracket's attached and how they're mounted securely, and you like the looks of them. This video is for you. If you don't like the looks of the screen, then go watch something else. All right. So let's get the Piranha on there first, and then we will take that for a spin and see how that feels. All right, so you have to forgive me. I'm filming this out of sequence because when I tried to film this part a couple days ago, the camera for some reason got set to time lapse or time warp. So I'm redoing this whole section. So here we have the Piranha, and I think it looks great. I think it just perfectly fits the attitude of the bike, the style of the bike. Covers up the back of the clock if you don't like those exposed screws, like Rocket Man didn't like that. But I think it just cleans it up, gives it some attitude. Gives it a little bit, kind of goes of retro flair, kind of goes in with the rest of the aesthetic of the bike as kind of a retro classic, but really a modern bike underneath. So nice and small. I like that. I think I said before, I like that you still see the top of the forks on the other side of the screws here on either side. But I really like the way it looks, and it's kind of just what you'd expect. It's right in the middle. It's not too big to make a lot of noise, and it's not too small to be insignificant. It's kind of just right. All right, so let's get on the bike, and I think going from naked to that, it's going to make a little bit of a difference, but it's not going to be huge. All right, so the trouble with trying to redo this footage is I felt like I've said everything that I have to say, but you wouldn't have been able to hear it since it was on time-lapse setting or time warp setting, and it was great footage, but it's kind of useless if I want you to be able to hear the differences. But one of the things I did say that I just remembered about the looks of it is that, I don't know, for some reason, call me weird, but it looks better with that little screen on there. It completes the look visually. It's almost like naked is a good look. Don't get me wrong, for a lot of situations, naked's awesome, but you know, sometimes the lingerie or, you know, the little extra thing that you're wearing can be even more visually appealing than naked, if you catch my drift. And so that's kind of what that is. It's the little piece of lingerie, little bit of something that makes things even more interesting. But this is also a cooler day. It was about 93 degrees a couple days ago when I was filming this, and I appreciated having no fly screen on there for the first lap, because that just meant there was more air that was getting through my jacket and cooling me off. Although at that point it's almost like having a hot blow dryer on you. You know, it's, yeah, you're moving air, but it's warm air. You're just getting blasted with warm air that doesn't exactly cool you off. But today it rained all morning, and it's instead of 93 degrees, it's 73 degrees. And with this, I'm still getting lots of good airflow, and I'm noticing it because the air's nice and cool, and it feels really nice. So, you know, one thing with a windshield is if you like getting all the airflow of a naked bike, and you don't want to necessarily lose that by putting a big barn door on the front of your motorcycle. And so this I think is a nice compromise where you get something on there, it looks good, it does take the wind off a little bit, but not enough that it's actually going to keep the cool air from getting to your body. So that's nice. And then wind noise, it's not too much different. I'm not really picking up a whole lot of extra or different noise from this than I did on the naked bike. It's about the same. But now on the freeway here, going about 62, 63, there's still a good bit of wind blast to my chest. The wind blast was hitting me before about the solar plexus. I would say it's maybe 4 or 5 inches up above that now. So still getting a lot of air, still feeling some of that turbulence on my body, but it cuts it down but maybe 10-15%. And so then I'd say the classic, by comparison, cuts that down by 25-30%. And that's the big difference between the two of them there. And so this is, to me, it looks better than naked, and it cuts the wind down just a little bit better than naked, and so it's kind of a good compromise. I wouldn't have put this on here and expect to comfortably, you know, be in a pocket of silent, still air, as they talk about behind like big touring screens. It's not that. It's not going to turn this bike into a touring screen. It's almost there for visual looks, and a bump in the appearance first, and then a benefit of getting a little bit of wind protection. But I'm still getting blown around a good bit. That red truck just went by me, and I don't know if he created some turbulence or something, but you know, I felt it a little bit. That shook my shoulders a bit, and that happens with naked too. But the Classic cuts a lot more of that down. It does make highway travel, interstate speed travel, a little bit more comfortable for the body. Now I'm going up here to about 72, and with going over 70 without a fly screen at all, you're kind of holding on a little bit more. You're fighting the wind, and you're holding on to the handlebars a little tighter, just to kind of stay on. This is enough where you don't necessarily, I don't catch myself doing that quite as much or grip it just as hard. Body's still getting moved around. I'm still feeling the pull and the blast of wind on my chest, but it's not so bad that I feel like I'm really having to hold on tight. So it's kind of what you would expect. It's a step above naked, but not quite as much as the Classic. And I think what's winning me over with it though is the quietness of the clean air, at least at speeds below 50 miles an hour, between 50 and 60 even. That clean air around the helmet, I'm still getting most of that compared to no fly screen at all. It's almost as good as that. So right now this is the sweet spot for me. This seems to be where it's at. It seems to be a good compromise. I love the looks of it, and you get the added benefit of just toning down the wind blast at interstate speeds just enough that you notice it and you appreciate the extra comfort. It's not huge, but it's just a little bit there. It's sort of like wearing a very light tinted sunglasses. It's not necessarily gonna block out all the glare, but it's gonna tone down the glare of the sun just enough that you notice it and makes you a little more comfortable. All right, so let's get back to the parking lot. I'm gonna switch out this for the Classic. All right, so that was the Piranha. I liked it. I like the looks of it. It looks even better in pictures. Yeah, I think it just fits with the kind of meanness and the attitude of the bike. And I like that it was a good compromise. It took enough. It looks great. So visually it completes the bike, and if for nothing else, that's enough for me to want to keep that on there. But I also think it just tones down the wind blast a little bit if you're going on the highway. I don't know for sure if I would take this on long trips again with earplugs and taking the back roads. This might be just fine. The Classic does offer a bit more protection, but even with the Classic on there, I'd still stick to the back roads and take my time and enjoy the ride, enjoy the trip with it. But the Classic does offer a lot more wind protection and still looks pretty nice too. So let's do that. We'll slap that on there, take another lap, and I'll give you my final thoughts. And here we have the Classic. Still looks good. Now that I've had it back to back with the Piranha on there for a little while, still maybe liking the minimal look of the Piranha a little bit better. I liked on the Piranha, this covers up the tops of the forks. With the Piranha, you kind of saw that a little bit. It kind of revealed those a little bit more, showed a little bit more about what was going on. Still not bad looking. I like the all black. You can get it in a lighter smoke or a clear, but I like that black. It looks good with the rest of the black on the bike. And I guess you could even paint it whatever color you wanted if you're into that kind of thing. It does, you see it, you see more of it from this angle for sure. And it's still not big as far as windshields go, but definitely a little bit more substantial than the Piranha, especially on the sides here. And then it comes up about an extra 1.5 to 2 inches. So hopefully getting at enough good angle so you can see the difference. And that just might come down to taste, one or the other, whatever suits you the best. But let's see how they function. And so now with the Classic on there, actually still not hearing much of a difference below 50 miles an hour, and a little less on my chest that I can feel right now. Like I said, it's a hot day, and you know, I'm still getting air through the jacket, but maybe just a little bit less right now. And on days like this, you know, a little more air flow is a good thing. All right, and I'm also just barely picking up about 40. Anytime I get over 40, just kind of, just almost a lower toned sound. Like, it's still wind noise. It just kind of has a lower pitched roar to it. Just almost like a blowtorch kind of a sound that wasn't quite there with the first two ones. And I've had 600 miles on the Classic. I didn't hate it. I wasn't ready to rip it off or anything, but the noise was definitely different and more pronounced at speeds, especially where on the interstate I hated the wind blast, especially, you know, naked without anything. And then when I put this on the interstate, it was louder. But I would also say after about an hour and a half, I was pulling over, and it was not because of the noise. It was more just because you know, my butt was getting sore, or my knees were getting sore, or my back was getting sore. You know, it wasn't necessarily that you know, my ears couldn't take it anymore or anything like that. So it's just different. It's maybe trading one discomfort for another, and it depends on which one bothers you less. All right, but I'll show you here on the interstate is where I think it gets a little bit louder. So 65 now, wind blast, sitting upright, much better than the last two. Barely getting anything at all. I would say if I hold my hand on my chest, feeling it more just below my collarbone. Okay, so I put my hand on my chest, and my fingers and my thumb right just below my collarbone is where you feel the wind blast start. And so, like I said before, that probably does move it a little bit closer to just below. You know, moves the turbulent air a little closer, maybe a shoulder height, where your ears might start picking it up around your helmet. But wind blast definitely much better. I can sit here and do this, and physically, body-wise, wouldn't bother me. But still, especially if I kind of slouch down, there it is. There's the roar. Sit up, it's a little better. So in conclusion, I think I'm going to I think back to back, I like the looks of the Piranha a little bit better. That was also what I was thinking, is that was what I was going to have on there 90% of the time, and then I would slap this on when I went out of town. But even if I go out of town on this bike, because of the noise and just because of, you know, it's not fun on the freeway, I'm going to put the Classic on for going out of town and taking longer trips. But it's not enough that I'm going to want to put it, still take it on the freeway. It's nice to have the wind blast gone if you have to. You know, if there's no other way, and you just got to get on the interstate for 20 minutes, an hour or so. This does make it easier. But at that kind of speed, you also see the top of it, it would vibrate a lot and shake, and I think that was even making the turbulence worse. It was just making turbulent, shaky air as it was coming off there. I'm gonna get this home before the storm gets here, and put the Piranha back on, and I think I'm gonna live with that one for a while. And when I go back out of town, go on another weekend camping trip, I'll put the Classic back on. I think it'll be just fine taking the back roads. I think, yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So in conclusion, the Piranha wins. They're all good. They're slightly different. It might just come down to looks for you, but if you're wanting the most wind protection, the Classic has it. It's bigger, it's going to give you more wind protection for sure. I think it just does come with a bit of a trade-off with the noise. The Piranha looks great. I think I like the minimal looks. It completes the bike, and still takes down just a bit of the wind, where if I'm going around town but I still got to get on the interstate, I'm not going to hate life. And then there's nothing wrong with naked. Naked's a good look. And so don't think like you have to get a Flyscreen, but if you're going to take longer trips, that little bit helps. Taking that edge off makes a difference after a few hours. So that's my conclusion. That's my ABC comparison. I hope you liked it. I hope it helps.